I just got an odd phone call. I just put the phone down and I asked the guy, can I talk about it? He said, absolutely not. I said, well, listen, I'm going to get this from somebody else and the word's going to get out to the audience. So why can't I be the one to bring it if you just fed it to me? He goes, all right, do what you want with the story. Keep my name out of it. Fine. That's fine. You don't have to say where you got something. I think you're going to find this interesting. So I want to make sure I tell this in order. 1 week ago, I came to you and I told you, listen, I don't think Ciryl Gane's going to get the nod against Tom. I believe if Ciryl got the nod against Tom, it would be a knee-jerk reaction. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is you're getting ready to announce Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. You get a call that completely surprises you. Jon Jones not only going to not do the fight, he's never going to fight anybody. He's retiring your belt. I mean, there's massive consequence to Jon Jones retiring, and that there could create an anxiety within a human being where you try to find what's next for Tom. You make a phone call before you had time to think about it. That would be called a knee-jerk reaction. But that and only that is what gets you to Ciryl versus Tom. Ciryl versus Tom creates some massive problems, and I brought this to you a week ago, that if you're trying to move on from Jon Jones, now you're forced into this spot. It's not the spot you wanted to be in. It's not a situation you created, but here is your situation. You've got to close the book on Jon Jones. You have to, or you can never get a heavyweight over. There will always be the question. There will always be the asterisk. There will always be the comment. So if you want to do that, to bring in a common opponent of Jon Jones is not the right move. 2 reasons. If Tom struggled with Ciryl more than Jon did, Tom could win all 5 rounds. Tom could even finish the fight in the second, third, fourth. If he goes longer or struggles more than Jon did, you haven't closed the book on Jon. You actually made it more interesting. If Ciryl wins the contest, you've now got a champion that couldn't land a punch on Jon Jones. You just can't close the book. So your only way to do that is to bring in a new crew. And I told you guys that I thought that Jaden Almeida would get that fight. And I had a big problem with predicting Jaden Almeida. When I told you guys I thought it would be Jaden Almeida, I was more trying to prove a point for you that it is not going to be Ciryl. It cannot be Ciryl. I had a big problem, and I'm just sitting back doing detective work. I really like Jaden Almeida. I really think he's got a great future in front of him. I really don't think we're even having this debate had he not eaten that elbow in a fight that he was winning by Curtis Blades. I think Almeida would just be the guy and everybody would be great with it. And I don't like to hold a guy's career back because of one shot. It's one of these things, but it's still the situation we're in. Now, my problem with my detective work is I read an interview where Jaden Almeida put out, and within the interview, Jaden, he was trying to make his case. And somewhere within the interview, he says, I'm the only heavyweight even talking about this. Nobody else is even calling Tom out. So on that willingness alone, I should be considered, of which he is 100% right. But there's a caveat, which is whoever's got Tom next already has Tom. There is not a discussion and a negotiation and a debate still ongoing with the UFC. That decision is made. That agreement is signed. It just hasn't been revealed to us, which still makes it fair game to guess. So when Almeida said in that interview, I'm the only one still talking about it, it was a clue that he doesn't have the fight, or he wouldn't need to be talking about it. Okay. So I have a little bit of time to think. And Wednesday of last week, Alex Pereira put out a social media piece on something the kids call Instagram. And he just took a picture of a scale, himself on a scale, and the number on the scale read 246 pounds. He put that out. So what story is he attempting to tell us? Is he attempting to tell us I'm out of shape? Look how far I've let myself go. I can never be a middleweight again? No, of course not. Not at all. He's attempting to let us know I'm as big as the heavyweights. Well, why would that be relevant? Because he's getting ready to fight Tom Aspinall. That's why that would be relevant. Or he's arguing and fighting and campaigning, trying to fight Tom Aspinall. That's why it would be relevant. Which is a comment that I made on the post-fight show over at ESPN, which got heard by the person who just called me to let me know I've interpreted it wrong. The fight that Alex Pereira is campaigning for at heavyweight is against Jon Jones. And that's a fun topic. If I wanted to be a scumbag, and I just might be, I guess we'll wait and see how this goes. I'm not above being a scumbag. And I wanted to put that in my thumbnail, Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira coming, announcement coming. If I wanted to do that, boy, I'd really bring you in, wouldn't I? Now, this person is very tied to Alex Pereira. The Pereira camp heard my and they wanted to get me. So I mean, this information is as accurate as it can be. Now, can he get the fight with Jon Jones? Is there anything to that? Is that something that Jon Jones would entertain? According to my phone call, yes. Okay. Now, before you get too excited, let's just take a look at the pieces that we've got here. We know confidently, because again of the level that this information came from, that Alex Pereira is interested in going to heavyweight and that he's interested in fighting Jon Jones. We know that one. How strong do we know that Jon would be interested in doing that back? I struggle with that. I mean, we couldn't get an answer since November of last year of how strong and willing Jon would be to come out and take on Tom Aspinall. And that went back and forth, depending who you asked. Tom's saying, yeah, ready tonight, ready whenever you want to do it. Jon's saying, well, I'll definitely do it, but there's got to be a number. And the UFC's going, well, we got to play the venue game. We got to find some dates, and we'll call you guys when we're ready. I mean, it was a very difficult thing to get answers to. So I'm not confident, and I don't want to come out and tell you, hey, Jon's willing to come back, just wants to fight somebody and not be done. Okay, but let's look at those pieces, and then okay. Before you think you have a bird in the hand, because there are some fights that are too good to refuse. There's some opportunities that you just can't walk away from. But is that one of them? I don't know where the appetite at the UFC for Jon Jones, the contender, for Jon Jones being an innate Diaz role, where you could fight anybody at any weight class for any reason. You're just that guy. Conor McGregor is in that same category. It can be anyone at any weight class for any reason. It doesn't have to pertain to rankings. It doesn't have to do with a future fight. Just get them together and you have something special. Very rare that the UFC ever does that, but they have done it. And I don't know where their appetite for Jon Jones in that role would be. I don't know that their interest in Jon fighting Pierre, which provides for the opportunity of knocking Pereira down and then having Jon still not willing to fight Tom. I don't know where that would be, but I know strongly enough I don't believe that they would do that. But we still have information. Even if we can't get Jones and Pereira in there together and behind the scenes there's an effort to make that happen, we still do now have proof that Pereira will fight anybody. And we do know that Pereira would like to fight at heavyweight. And it would also tell us that Pereira has not agreed to fight Ankalaev. But how much of that can you then manifest, meaning getting the organization to agree to? That is what is yet to be seen.